Each year we provide 50 young adults, transition year students, with the opportunity to learn about theatre by making theatre. Theatre that reflects their lives and the world as it is for them. Our young adults write and produce plays and perform them to an audience of their peers, for whom the work is particularly resonant and meaningful. Tenderfoot's ethos of apprenticeship, learn by doing, under the guidance of experts in their field, aligns perfectly with the focus on experiential and beyond the curriculum learning prioritised in transition year.
We're looking to create experiences. That seems obvious. And it's a two-way experience. It's not that either the person or the young person is to have an experience to simply consume it, but actually it's interactive. And that's why I've kind of flipped the experience and made it kind of a two-way. And you'll see that the immersion has become immersive, the absorption has become absorbing, and engagement has become engaging. So that sense of making experiences that are interactive.
The key person in the relationship between an arts organisation like Lyra and the community and the children wasn't the artist, but it was actually somebody who was there, and we sort of call them a facilitator or a person. But the person who was there as a support to the artist originally, because it was very much about just doing workshops and doing work with this, what we recognised was that the children needed somebody who was a focus, somebody who was there. And what we also recognised was that person wasn't somebody that could only be there for 3 months and then left again. What we recognised is that someone needed to be there and needed to be there all the time. Because that thing that Martin touched on, that when you're doing the arts, when you're working in the way that we were working, the emotions happen. And these are young people who find it very, very difficult to deal with the emotions that they've got, because they're dealing with stuff outside, which makes it very, very hard when you walk in that door.
If you have a drama group of, let's say 14 or 15-year-olds, or a dance group or a music group or whatever, they are not just meeting the music, they are meeting themselves and they are meeting one another. And that's an enormously important idea, that they experience not just the arts, but they experience themselves in the arts and particular aspects of themselves.
We asked the schools what the aims, if there is any kind of drama theatre programme, what would the aims of this be? So this included personal development, confidence, self-esteem, teamwork, developing communication and critical thinking skills, exposing students to theatre and the arts and encouraging a love of the arts, connecting with exams and texts and engaging with contemporary drama, and building an ethos of hard work, I think, through creating a performance and the teamwork that goes with that. The findings point towards schools having access to very little external funding for drama and theatre activities, which probably
So the value of students encountering contemporary theatre work, we thought that it has kind of a myriad of contexts in which they can encounter that work. So it's both encountering it in a professional context, there's seeing something in order to be it, that you can, from a professional point of view, you can see this is a legitimate career choice that adults make. And I think in my experience, working with young people and seeing them encounter professional work, seeing that as an option is pretty eye-opening.
We said it helps with the relevance. It helps with relevance of expression, of pushing boundaries to communicate, and also helps for them to understand the scope of drama and performance practice. It helps with the transition from child to adult.
You want them to think outside the box. You want to open meaningful conversations. It's hugely important to have that conversation for students to be able to talk about that. But sometimes because you're very aware that maybe parents are out there, so say it to the students and let them come back to you and say, oh, I don't want to be involved in that, and put provision in place for them not to be involved in it. It doesn't happen. The majority of the times, you know, that they will stay and they want to be on board, but just to cover yourself that you don't have parents I can't believe that conversation with my daughter. Therefore, I feel that's very important to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row before you start something that, you know, could have an emotional effect on a student.
Sometimes when we actually talk about these things like what you said there, it teaches parents and students the skills about, well, why do I feel this way? And how do I decide what's appropriate? Because they have to learn for themselves when they're making those decisions. And that's something that's great about the arts, that, like, I realised it must be a sentence I say a lot in my class, because I've noticed my students now echoing back, but do you think that was appropriate for this time? And I was like, okay, right, change your phrase, please. You know?
We engage very fully, like with Tenderfoot, and then I teach a film module in TY and we make films, and kind of everything's on the table in that sense. But when you were saying about like maybe the school creating something, I think that's when it kind of comes in. So I think almost it's a fear of what will the parents say if they actually have to come and watch it. But if it's just our students experiencing it, everything's grand.
So 40% of the schools mentioned that content would be an issue in some shape or form. So again, this comes back to our discussion that we've had.
One of the strongest pieces I brought to the Children's Festival in Edinburgh was a piece called Mess, which was a woman's journey with her own anorexia. It was the performer's own story, and we presented it to 11 and up. And it was one of the very, very few shows where girls came back. They went to see it with their school, and they came back, and they brought their parents. That very, very rarely happens. And it was because it was that thing about it didn't pull any punches, it didn't have any filters.
Something about young people realising themselves in the world, discovering something about themselves and the world. And particularly, I think, about feelings. That's one of the things that, you know, as opposed to other disciplines, that the arts is it's a discipline or a set of disciplines that is interested in ideas and feelings, that recognises that feelings in the human experience are central drivers to how we are, how we feel about the world, how we feel about our fellow human beings, how we feel about the planet, and that in the arts there is a whole reservoir, as I said earlier, of experiences.
The best way, it seemed to us, to produce work that would appeal to young adults was to facilitate young adults in the making of their own work. Tenderfoot nurtures, values and articulates plays by and for young people.
What would schools like to see happening in terms of theatre and drama opportunities in schools? So a lot of the schools would like to run an annual performance, to have more access to theatre and performance training for outside, both for students and for teachers, increased drama courses in the junior cycle and in the TY module, increased funding for drama and theatre activities, expansion of in-school performance to include contemporary plays. So a lot of people expressed wanting to move beyond musicals as the main form of performance, and also to include the scripting of plays by students themselves, a dedicated space for theatre, resources for performance, and exposing students to more theatre productions outside school.
Tenderfoot is a pathway programme, and it always will be. We value a give it a go mentality. We encourage those who have never done anything like this before. We want to provide access to the young people who are good at English, but we also want to provide an opportunity for those who identify as being really bad at English, because maybe they have something to say. So it is right that there are a number of possible outcomes to a first encounter with writing and theatre. We have found over the years that there are three common responses from young people to learning how to write a play. There are, I am not a playwright. I was interested, I gave it a go, this is so not for me. And that is fine. Accidental playwrights. I wrote a brilliant play and I have no idea how I did it. And the idea that you'd ask me to do it again horrifies me because I don't know what I did. And playwrights, every so often we come across a young person and we think, we don't have to teach you anything. It's actually, you know, we can help. You know what you want to say, and look what you have made. And when you put that work before an audience, wow.